Hello, my name is Robert Bennett, and I did my project on The Sorcerer's Apprentice by Paul Dukas. So, yeah, let's get into it. A little bit about Paul Dukas. Paul Dukas was a French composer. He was born October 1st, 1865, in Paris, France. Um, he studied piano, harmony, and composition at the Paris Conservatory. Um, During Paul's early childhood, his mother was actually a pianist, and she was the one that got him into music and really started his passion um, for composing and music in general. Dukas also taught. He taught composition at the Paris Conservatory, and he also taught at the École Normale de Musique. Dukas died May 17th, 1935, same place he was born. He died in Paris, France. He left behind his wife, Suzanne, and his only child, their daughter, Audrey. A little context to the history that was going on during this piece. Um, the Sorcerer's Apprentice was composed in the year 1897. Uh, it was during that time that the Romantic period was kind of uh, at the end. The Romantic period, as we know, lasted until the year around 1900. So the Romantic period was kind of on the decline, and it was giving way to a more modernist style of music. Um, the piece was written during the Industrial Revolution. So, as we know, during this time period, there was lots of changes going on in music, a lot of changes in arts, and just the overall way of life of people and how they lived. A similar piece that I found, it was also written around the same time, it was written in the year 1874, was the piece is called Danse Macabre. A similar piece, it was composed by Camille Saint-Saëns, and what makes these pieces so similar is they're both, late romantic works, but they're also, both pieces are designed to tell a story. They're designed on poems, and they're both um, meant to convey a story to the audience through music. So, some unique attributes about The Sorcerer's Apprentice. The piece is fully instrumental, and it is written for a full symphony orchestra. Uh, the piece is actually, as I said, based on a poem. It is based on the poem is called Der Zauberlehrling, which actually translates to The Sorcerer's Apprentice. But the poem was written by Johann Wolfgang, and it was written in the year 1797. So actually, exactly 100 years before Paul Dukas composed The Sorcerer's Apprentice. Disney actually did an adaptation um, on the poem and and they used Paul Dukas's composition in their film, but it was they did an adaptation in their film Fantasia in 1940, and they just showed the story of the music and of the poem. So, in order to perform this piece, it requires a plethora of instruments. It requires the piccolo, two flutes, two oboes, as well as two clarinets, a bass clarinet, three bassoons, a contrabassoon, four horns, four trumpets, three trombones, uh, timpani, a glockenspiel, a suspended cymbal, a triangle, cymbals, bass drum, harp, and strings. So the story behind the piece is what I found to to be extremely interesting. I feel like the music does a great job of bringing the story to life, but the story goes that there was a young magician's apprentice, and he was working for this magician, and he overhears the magician bringing a broomstick to life to do chores. So when the master leaves, the apprentice, uh, being young and being naive, thinks that he can do this spell as well. And what he does is he actually uses the spell to bring the broomstick to life, and he tries to get the broom to get a bucket of water, but the broomstick doesn't stop getting water, and the apprentice does not know how to stop the broomstick from getting water, and the broomstick is flooding the house, and the apprentice does not know what to do. Water everywhere, so he decides to take an axe and try to cut the broomstick in half. When he does this, the broomstick just multiplies, and now there are two broomsticks continuing to flood the house. Total chaos until the master finally returns, and just with a simple hand gesture and little spell resolves the whole conflict. So I'm going to take a listen to the piece and see how Paul Dukas was able to make this story come to life through music. So, as you can see, the piece has a very like whimsical and fun tone at the beginning. The story is a one that is a funny story. So, Paul Douglas did a great job of just setting the tone of just an overall fun and whimsical piece. As we saw when the tempo begins to increase, and kind of those lower string instruments and the bassoons come in, this represents in the story the chaos that is caused by the broomstick the apprentice not being able to stop the broomstick. So some musical elements that I found in the piece that I just wanted to point out. Form the piece's symphonic tone poem following a loose chromatic form, which aligns with the narrative of the original poem. The tempo, the opening tempo sets the whimsical and playful theme, as I said. The piece uses an increase in that tempo to portray the panic and uh, the panic that we see in the story. Texture: the piece uses a homophonic texture to establish this theme. And one thing that I wanted to point out was the timbre with the lower string instruments along with the bassoon, just representing the broom and its overall uncontrollable behavior. I really like this piece. I think it was very interesting just to see how Paul Dukas was able to use these musical elements and really make the story come to life through music. And it really did tell the story of the poem to the audience. That's all I have. Thank you.